Alrighty, fellas, good morning. My name is Patrouski. I've been playing PokeMMO for 12 years, and I'm still lucky enough to wake up excited to enjoy the game. The world is our oyster today, fellas. How are you doing? How are you enjoying the game? What are you up to? Hopefully you're grinding something, playing something while watching this on your second monitor. This is your daily source of tips, tricks, information, just general discussion on what's happening inside the community, as well as upcoming events and such for PokeMMO. I'm over at an alpha spawn right now on the Iron Man account. If you happen to not know, I've been playing an Iron Man account. It's the big project on my channel right now is the Iron Man account, where I am playing an account that cannot trade nor use the GTL, and we are working towards a lot of endgame content preparation, trying to get Mount Silver unlocked, trying to get raid ready for the event season coming up, and also just keeping an eye out. I'm not sure how it'll affect the Iron Man, but keeping an eye out for the upcoming potential update. We were supposed to get an update. The devs told us we would get an update in late August or early September. So it really could happen any day now. I'm really looking forward to that first half of September, like September 15th and below is where I would be looking towards an update. We're supposed to be getting temporary incubators, which is a very controversial update to the game, one of the most controversial in a very long time. And then we're also supposed to be getting a VGC game mode. Now, I don't know if that's promised for this update or just later on. They're working on it, so they've talked about. So we're looking forward to VGC. We're looking forward to temporary incubators. And then other than that, event season coming up. So we'll see what comes with all of that. Now, firstly, got to cover my own personal business, okay? It is important. If you want to support my content, support my channel, if my PokeMMO guides have been helpful, if the stream recaps have been entertaining, if you've enjoyed my content enough to warrant it for you, and you want to try something new, try a new food, experience something really cool, chef-made meals from Factor, you can sign up, first link in the description, and when you do so, you get 50% off your first Factor order. I think that's really worth it. I really like Factor. Me and my wife have used Factor during busy times of our life, right? They ship you these pre-made meals that are nutrient dense and healthy and tasty, and I love, I recommend the smoky Gouda chicken is to die for. A lot of their Indian dishes are fantastic. They have a lot of great food there, and it's a great way to just have them take care of it for you. If you're stressed, if you have a big week at work coming up, if it's the holiday season, you want to focus on Christmas shopping, work, spending time with your loved ones, going on dates with your partner, there's so much. Our lives are more complicated than ever right now. Everything's really busy and overstressed. Sometimes it's nice to lean on something else for a little bit of our nutrients, a little bit of our food, and just have them take care of it. Factor really does that for me during certain busy times in my life, and I'm lucky to be able to offer you guys a 50% discount. And when you Factor sub, it adds an hour to a Streamathon upcoming at the end of late September or early October. Plus, we have a few incentives, like 5 Factor subs will unlock a horror game being played for that Streamathon. 10 Factor subs, I'll be giving away 10 million Pokeyen via Hide and Seeked. And then 25 Factor subs, we will bathe in beans. Make sure you're not using any plugins like Honey. Hilariously, Factor is actually advising the creators to now start reminding people don't use the plugins like Honey when purchasing through an affiliate, because it will actually steal the affiliate. It's a whole internet drama. If you Google Honey, you'll see stuff about it. That's one of those things. We rambled about that last stream, but I'm not a big internet drama kind of guy. It's not really something that I find, interesting. The Honey stuff was legit. That was not drama. That was legit and interesting. So if you haven't seen that amazing YouTube video, it's 17 million views. It's a great YouTube video that did a lot of journalism work into it. It was pretty crazy if you ask me. Anyways, everybody knows that at this point, but some people don't. It's a good PSA to talk about. If you don't know, I would uninstall Honey personally. I used to have it installed for way back in the day, Anyways, what is up next? Okay, we always have daily catch events to cover. If you don't know, there's 3 catch events every single week in PokeMMO for all types of players to go participate into and have a chance to win some free shinies, some good Pokemon, and some free RP, which is the premium currency. So we have some official catch events. First things first, we've got Zangoose catch event coming up on the 3rd of September, Wednesday. That is tomorrow if you're watching the stream. If you're watching the video, the stream recap, it is today, okay? If you caught the stream recap early, you still have time for this. It happens at 1 p.m. ET. The stream recaps go live every day at 8 a.m. ET. So if you watch, you might have a few hours, but this will be tomorrow. I'll probably be participating in this event personally on stream if you want to come hang out on stream and play the event and see who has the highest catch and stuff like that. Route 114 in Hoenn. A lot of crazy species bonuses for this one. Plus 15 for Zangoose, plus 5 for Nuzleaf, Lombre, Combuskin, C-Dot, Lotad, and Seviper, minus 15. Some pretty big bonuses. You can see Adamant Nature bonus here. And then Shiny Zangoose is the level 50 prize. Next up, a Smeargle Catch event on the 7th of September at 1 p.m. ET. Once again, excuse me. Route 6 Kanto, Snubbled, Golduck, Gyarados, Smeargle, Growlithe, Jigglypuff, Vulpix, Abra, and Meowth are all catchable. If you want to see the details for yourself, these are all available over on the PokeMMO forums. You can head over to the forums, go to official events, and they always update what events are coming up every single day. Shiny Smeargle is the prize for this one, as well as some free RP. If you're an Ironman account, this is the most important, luxurious resource you can get on an Ironman account. And if you're a main account, it's great to get some free RP heading into event season. I usually only cover unofficial events once. However, this unofficial event, in my opinion, is so cool that I want to cover it more. And I'm going to try to cover it at least once a week as it's active is the goal. For those who don't know, this guy Pokedex is throwing together a weekly unofficial catch event into PvP event. And I think this is so freaking cool. If you haven't seen this, you basically go into the Safari Zone for 1 hour. You all catch an hour's worth of Pokemon. You submit those Pokemon for highest IVs and lowest IVs like a normal catch event. And then there's a part 2 of the event where you play a PvP tournament. And there's cool prizes. I think this is so fun, so interesting. I love that he's doing this. And I'd love to try to support him in whatever ways I can. These consistent unofficial events are such an important backbone of any game, of any community. Way back in the day, back in 2013, one of the most important things we had was something called the Poke Daily, which is a daily PokeMMO tournament. This was back before we had an automated queue system, so you couldn't just queue up for PvP. There weren't automated tournaments every day. The Poke Daily was how you practiced and how you played PvP in PokeMMO back in 2013. It was a really big deal, really crucial for the community. And this is kind of a similar thing, and it also shakes things up and is super interesting. So check it out, support him. It's a really cool thing to see. Next up, this is something that's a little tough for me to cover because I just don't know a whole lot about it. And when it comes to reporting news that's out of my depth or I can't add to it, I want to remind you guys, don't freak out, don't panic. I'm just kind of reporting a breaking news, live situation. I don't want people to over stress about this too much right now is what I'm trying to say, but just keep it in the back of your mind. Does that make sense? All right. Apparently, I've heard a few people talk about this. I just don't know. I cannot confirm it or not. I can't talk to it, right? Someone said that Google, so Android devices, Google is locking down applications in the future. We're starting next year, in 1 year from now, every app, even outside the Play Store, must come from a verified developer. A lot of people play on Android mobile, and this will surely affect both users and developers. I don't know if PokeMMO can get verified. Maybe it's a year down the road. Maybe it won't take effect. There's a lot of things that could happen. I don't know what this entails for PokeMMO. Maybe it'll be fine. If PokeMMO does get taken off the Android, if it's harder to install or harder to play PokeMMO on Android, that would be a really bad thing. That would suck. But yeah, maybe it would just be the same thing as iOS. I don't know. It's already a pain in the butt to get PokeMMO on iOS. So I don't know. Mobile players are really important. Mobile players make economies and make games work right now. And people's lives are busy and complicated. Playing on the go is super crucial. Next up, this guy made a phenomenal. I haven't even read through all of it yet, but from what I read, oh my goodness! Shout out to It's Nesso. I am so glad you went and did research. This was posted an hour ago. I saw this as I was prepping for stream. I do a lot of prep work trying to find these forum posts and sort through a lot of, not great forum posts to find the good ones. And I'm so excited for this. Headbutt stuff is a pain in the butt. Man, when Headbutt released, Johto, so a lot of people might not even know what headbutting is. Headbutt encounters are a mechanic where you can teach the HM Headbutt onto your Pokemon. It's an HM in Johto, and then you headbutt a tree, so you interact with a tree to get one encounter, and then you have to wait 6 hours to headbutt it again. And there's only so many trees, a fair bit of trees, but the encounters aren't that good. It's super slow. It's a pain in the butt. People were really excited when Headbutt dropped, and you would see all these crazy Pokemon. People thought that, oh my god, look at all these Apom encounters. Oh my goodness, new shiny hunting method for Apom just dropped. Holy shit, that'd be a really big deal. Well, it turns out headbutting sucks so bad that it's not actually worth using from our understanding. However, nobody wanted, because it sucked so much, nobody wanted to put in the work and test it and like see if it's actually good or where it's good, yada yada yada. So shout out to this guy. I did get a slight buff. Yeah, I've been doing headbutting ever since I got buffed, and I noticed there isn't that much documentation on it. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tested it. It's really obnoxious. So really I've decided to gather some data to make a short guide for everyone who decides to try it out. Let's start with some of the basic information. Okay, I already got something wrong. Look, cooldown for headbutt trees is 3 hours, and it's tree dependent, not global or route dependent. Encounters don't depend on the time of day. That's really interesting. How many times a tree can be headbutted from different sides is route dependent. I didn't even know you could headbutt the same tree multiple times. That's so strange. Rule of thumb is to headbutt every other tile. There are some exceptions, but over time you'll notice them. 2 leads that work are synchronized in Cute Charm. Chance to get an encounter. I would have never known this in a million years. I'm assuming he just like, yeah. Chance to get around 66%. Well, at least honey trees. Someone said headbutting is like honey trees too. Honey trees are at least like somewhat worth it. They're like kind of expensive, but they actually like are a really fun, like honey trees are somewhat more worth it in my opinion. A lot of rare shunners do honey trees honestly, but nobody does headbutting for mine. Very, 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 very few people. My advice, pick the routes you go and go for it. So he does. Here's some data for my runs. He goes to Safari Zone gates. Look at this. And you see some really cool encounters here. You see like Munchlax 5%, Heracross 8%. This spot looks awesome. This spot looks insane. 5% Munchlax, 8% Heracross, 10% Skarmory. That is what, 23% chance for a rare. Obviously everything else here is a fail. Ariados, Noctowl, Pidgeotto, Fear, all commons. But that being like a 23% chance for a rare literally might be enough to be worth like checking this location. Safari Zone Gate in Johto. It's really easy to fly to as well. Over here, 10% chance for Heracross, 13% chance for Skarmory. That's a 22% chance for a rare shiny. That's really, 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 really good. Next spot, 10. Look at this. A lot of Heracross, a lot of Skarmory. Fortress 10%. That's a rare shiny. Pineco 10%. This guy found a bunch of locations, a bunch of spots where it's like 20% chance minimum for rare shinies. That's really, really, really interesting in my opinion. Yeah, I think this is crazy. This guy, shout out to this guy for putting in that work. I didn't want to do that, like headbutting seems like a pain in the butt. So I'm glad he's finding some locations. If you ever want to try headbutt shunting every 3 hours, try these locations. That's really fucking cool, man. Shout out to him. Okay, next up. I hadn't read through this, but I saw a little bit about this. So I wanted to talk about it. I just love endgame content suggestions. I think PokeMMO, people always complain PokeMMO doesn't have enough content or has no content. I think that's a little extreme. However, I'm always down for more content, right? That's what I'm always down for. You can never have enough endgame content in an MMO, in my opinion. Like, there's always more to do. Like, I'm always down for more content. Right now, we do rely on setting a lot of our own goals to make the game interesting. Same way it is with Minecraft. It's kind of a sandbox game, right? Minecraft's the same exact way. After you beat the Ender Dragon, there's no more goals you really go for besides the ones you set for yourself, right? Building certain buildings, going for a mace or whatever it is, right? So I'm always down for more content. I'm always down for more goals to be chased after. But yeah, anyways. This guy says, endgame content idea. And I don't even know if this is a good idea. And I want to read through it and give my opinions. This is my first post here, so please be gentle. I respect the qualification. I've been playing PokeMMO for almost 400 hours. While I haven't fully reached endgame, I really enjoy the community and the grind. That said, when he says I enjoy the grind, that gets me okay. I'm excited. A lot of people don't, and you gotta enjoy the grind, in my opinion, to enjoy PokeMMO long term. I feel like the endgame could use a little extra spice. It could definitely use more. Here's a concept. Rush mode, a new endgame minigame. Requirements, all regions, complete Pokedex. Okay, pretty endgame content. Cool. Also, unlocks required is a good thing. Players can sign up for rush mode through a new building or NPC. Once a small group queues up, everyone is warped into a special zone where all Pokemon can spawn. Every Pokemon has the same 1 in 600 chance to appear. At the start, you use the Safari Zone mechanic to get your very first Pokemon. From there, you battle wild Pokemon normally. Okay, so we're getting some sort of like dungeon-based content is what it seems. Only catch them with Safari Balls. The twist, you can only keep one Pokemon at a time. If your current Pokemon faints, you're eliminated. Running from the battle is not allowed. You must decide wisely whether to stick to your current Pokemon or swap to a new one. Okay, so some sort of internal dungeon system, but you only have one Pokemon. The match is literally going to be points as a Pokemon caught, battles 1, specific Pokemon, survival duration. My only concern with this, I actually don't like though you can only keep one Pokemon at one time. I think limiting it to like 3 is better for strategy and decisions. The problem with only keeping one Pokemon at a time is that it so severely encourages you to play a certain metagame, right? And you will develop a certain metagame even with like 3 Pokemon slots, like you do with the like the Abundant Shrine type dungeons. But with this, like, someone's gonna find like the one Pokemon that's like by far the best, and it's gonna like outseed everything, and then it's just not gonna be very balanced. So I think runs would get very monotonous if it is only one Pokemon at a time. This is very similar to me to the Abundant Shrine minigame or Abundant Shrine dungeon, which is available during the Lunar New Year event in PokeMMO. I have videos on that if you're interested. But yeah, I'm not sure, but I love, once again, we need some sort of dungeon content. Absolutely, why not, dude? Top players earn a unique currency. Your points over prizes as a bonus you finish with is yours to keep. I do respect, I like the idea of this. I don't know how it would be implemented well, but I like the idea of it. Why rush mode? Adds replayability, competitive endgame content, rewards full Pokedex. Absolutely. Creates tension. Absolutely. Brings player together. Absolutely. He's got some good ideas. Yeah, we need a permanent Abundant Shrine. I think we need a permanent Abundant Shrine, a permanent raids. We need some, it's a little, who was it recently? The one guy recently who made that one video talking about the like beginner's experience in PokeMMO, and he was like, why aren't these pieces of content permanent? I don't really know. I wish Abundant Shrine and I wish raids were permanent, or like there was some form of them that was. Why don't we have a piece of endgame content, endgame PVM that's permanent? Aside from, like, obviously, to be fair, Heatran, we do have some. I'm not trying to say we have none, but I would love those pieces of content to be permanent, right? A permanent Abundant Shrine, a permanent thing. The hard part is balancing them. How do you make them good enough to be worth doing and be like the piece of content to go do? You want them to be pretty fucking strong, but not broken to where they're infinitely grindable to where it destroys the economy. It is really hard to, but I think it can be done. I think that the balancing definitely can be done. And I wish we had some sort of endgame PVM. That's all I can really say about that. Yeah, one raid a week is not too much to ask. That's the other thing, is we already have the raid dens. The raid dens are one of the most genius systems of mechanical content in PokeMMO because they rotate. You can change them out, etc., etc. Permanent raids, in my opinion, would be phenomenal because they could be kind of like, they could replace Alpha Swarms or be kind of like Alpha Swarms, where you get a random raid every day or every 3 days or something like that, right? And then you have to go fight the raid. That would be so fucking sick. A random raid spawn every day or something, once a day, and that replaces alpha spawns. That would be phenomenal for the game and great for the economy and exciting for the players. And would also, it creates this demand. The problem with alphas right now, alpha spawns, you just go catch them, right? It requires 2 Pokemon. Having more Pokemon is nice for an alpha spawn, but you can catch every single alpha pretty much with a skill swap Contrary Spinda and a catch umbrella. That's it. That's all you need. It requires 2 Pokemon to catch every alpha in the entire game. To me, that's really fucking silly. Versus alpha raids will bring in so much. You're gonna need a rain team, a sun team, a fighting team. It's gonna bring in that demand. Right now, we have way too much supply of good IV Pokemon because of alpha swarms, and way too little demand because of in my opinion, because of a lack of like PVM content to go do. Yeah. This is Park, a PokeMMO staff member, just voicing his opinions. Let me say that. He says, I don't know yet if they're replacing alpha spawns. I think they should too. I agree. But the plan is to make it a regular thing when the full raid release happens. But that's obviously a question mark in itself whenever it comes. Yes. That's what I've been saying for a long time. I do think like the devs are working on permanent raids. They talked about that. They talked about all the event raids being a test for that system. So I think they are working on permanent raids. We're kind of just waiting for that, but we are waiting a bit longer than I would like. That's PokeMMO. It's a really small dev team. I'm sure they're working very hard. It's all you can hope for. I think they have to go through a lot of support requests, a lot of appeals. They have to do a lot of upkeep. It's hard for them to work on the, like, you know, I always say people misunderstand, or I guess not misunderstand. People underestimate how long the day-to-day operations of keeping something like PokeMMO active and smooth and good, all the community engagement, all the dealing with support requests, all the talking to people, all the dumb bureaucracy and dumb communication that just has to happen, right? It stops them from actually making new content. And I'm even noticing that, as I can speak as a content creator, sometimes I end up spending too much time talking to chat, answering YouTube comments, answering Discord DMs. I answer 10 Discord DMs a day. I answer 5 to 10 comments a day. Like I constantly am communicating and on different platforms, and I think that eats up a lot of my data. And sometimes I'm not making enough videos. I end up, that's a personal, I need to work on, I need to reschedule my stuff, right? It's a personal problem, to be fair. But like sometimes I end up spending too much time like talking about things. I don't end up making enough new content, if that makes sense. One last thing for Park. The biggest thing the game needs, in my opinion, is more syncs, whether it be for alphas. Yep. Legendaries too. Legendary syncs, absolutely. Those, in my opinion, are the biggest pain points in the economy. Yeah, I think a legendary sync is crucial. I think alpha syncs should come from just breeding. I think, I could be wrong. I'd be open to an alpha sync. I think the main problem with alpha is the supply, not the, like, in my opinion, I think it's way too much supply. But I could understand if you want to counteract, you could counteract that in the other way of adding more demand for alphas. But I feel like some sort of alpha sync would just come off as a little too silly when you already have breeding. I'd rather like breeding and making good Pokemon be the thing. And you could even, there's so many ways you could solve it. You could just increase demand by the raids and by the endgame PVM. So, all right, that's enough yapping though for the first intro to the stream recap. Thank you guys for being here. Let's go ahead and jump into some actual PokeMMO gameplay. So I actually love this suggestion. If I'm understanding this correctly, Park says, it's just his personal opinions. Yeah. He says, I think that raids should be the access to like how you get alphas most of the time. But then if you want to have overworld alphas like they are right now, save those for events. So I love that idea. So basically flip-flopping, right? Make alpha spawns like this, the easier ones that are just catches, make them available during special times, events, make that exciting and easier, and then make the raids, the battles themselves, the normal thing like year-round in PokeMMO. I love that idea. I actually think that's like that's like one of the best, and it's really simple, right? That's one of the perfect solutions I've seen, in my opinion, for solving alphas and solving the market, in my personal opinion, obviously. Great thing. How common is 90k dry? Great question. We can actually go check the beautiful shiny binomial distribution. Some math that is way above my pay grade and I am not smart enough to understand, okay? But what we can do is we can go check 90k. Now, we don't have 90k on the chart, but we do have 80k encounters dry, and we do have 100k encounters dry. And at 80k encounters dry, without donor status, there is like a 7% chance you go that dry, which in my opinion is not that. Is there actually 2 minutes left for alpha? Okay, I'm gonna go encounter it then. Which is not that crazy, in my opinion, right? Think about it like this: 7 out of 100 total shiny hunts should go 80k dry. Good way to think about it, which is quite a lot. And then to go 100k dry, you have about a 4% chance, maybe like 3 to 4%, depending on with or without donor status. You have a 3 to 4% chance to go 100k dry, which, in my opinion, once again, I love this chart because it puts things into perspective. It's not that crazy. Obviously, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it's not difficult. It is very difficult. Going 100k dry mentally hurts. I've done it many, many times. However, it's, not that. It's good to keep in mind the perspective. And once you start, I like to start thinking about shiny hunts as a collective as opposed to your own rates and your own hunts, right? I think if you only think about shunts from your own, because it's too anecdotal. It's just most people don't do enough shunts to actually get like the proper data there, right? But if you think about shiny hunts from a collective, think about it like this: if 100 people all start a shiny hunt right now, 3 to 4 of those people are going to go 100k dry on their first shunt. That's kind of crazy to think about, but it's like, in my opinion, more common than people realize for sure. Great question. How much of a notice do the devs usually give before event season? Oh man, it's easily one of the worst parts of PokeMMO. I love the game, love the devs. They're not without fault. 0. Yeah, someone in chat just typed LMFAO. Well, you are obviously new, which is an amazing thing. Welcome to the game. We get poor fella doesn't know. We get absolutely 0 heads up about event season. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. The PokeMMO devs have tried to set deadlines and set dates in the past, and they're really bad at it. Every time the PokeMMO devs set a date, they almost never hit it. But if they don't set a date and they just release the content, they kind of do a good job. So like, we're all different. I totally get it. Everybody's a unique person. Whatever works for them, Do I wish we could actually schedule stuff and be like, okay, for sure the Halloween event will drop on October 31st? Now, I will say, historically, they've only ever been, with holiday events, they're usually pretty fucking on track, like 90%. I've only ever seen one event. I think it was one Christmas event got canceled one time. And then other than that, I've seen like the Christmas event delayed by like 1 to 3 days. Sometimes events get delayed. It's really, 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 really rare they don't do the holiday events. Like, yeah, typically we have to just go based off of history and what we've seen in the past. Typically they release the holiday events on the holidays or like one day after. So often I've seen it where like a Christmas is on December 26th. That is quite common in my opinion. But Halloween is almost always October 31st. Lunar New Year event is almost always on that date changes every year, almost always on it. Historically, we see it pretty consistently, but the devs don't make an announcement and are like, hey, the holiday season, you know, event season coming up. They just, if they have them, they dump them. And yeah, you have to just plan around everything that could happen. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah, someone just asked, it's a great question. They were like, I've seen a lot of people with that straw hat. You know, why is that all of a sudden so popular? It's the, oh no, where's it at? The conical is what you're thinking of. Oh no, is it not on the GTL? How do I show you this? There is the straw hat as well. Wait, why do these not come up? There is the straw hat as well, but that's a different, that's like there's like a straw hat that looks like, do I have them in my character? I don't. We can just go find them in game. Edelberg Pokemart. Let's just, yeah, I'll just go show you. There you go. I'll just go show you the Pokemart. Perfect. The conical got visually reworked pretty recently, within the past month or so in PokeMMO. Thank you, by the way, Kiwi in chat. The conical got reworked, and now everybody's fallen in love with it. Understandably so. So this is the conical, which a lot of people are calling the straw hat. There's another hat that is the straw hat, which is like Luffy's hat from One Piece. This is the conical. I could buy this. You know what? Maybe I should. I just, once again, my inner cringe hipster gene is like, you can't look like everybody else, even though it is very cool looking, you know? It's very popular right now. It's a cool hat though, man. I get it. I might take a sec. You know what? Are there any cool vanities I could go ahead and pick up though while we're here? Anything that would look neat or even like honestly shake things up a bit on the Ironman account? All right, we have some new news because someone mentioned it. We have added a new factor sub incentive. It's kind of funny, kind of high, but I think it would be a good meme. At 15 factor subs, I will play Voltorb Flip on stream on the Ironman account. If you don't know, Voltorb Flip is a Johto mini game where you can actually unlock a really cool untradeable Vanity hat. That's a Voltorb exploding. It's a very cool Vanity. However, the downside is you have to play Voltorb Flip. And Voltorb Flip, I played for 2 hours towards Johto's release, and I think it was the angriest I've ever been on stream. Playing Voltorb Flip on stream is horrible because for some reason people love to backseat. It is the most insane backseat fodder I've ever seen in my entire life. So if you want to see me backseat Voltorb Flip and then come rage bait me and backseat me, go ahead, give it to 15 factor subs, and we could do that. That'd be a good meme or something like that, or painful. Yeah, I talked about the Lepaberry market, and someone was saying like, don't Lepos like normally get a bit cheaper after Shiny Wars? And everything's cheaper right now. Everything, like, the market is just slow right now. The game is just slow. We're coming expected in a healthy way. The game is healthily slow right now, right? Shiny Wars just ended, so a lot of people are exhausted from that. People are really fucking tired. They just played 16 hours a day for months, right? Shiny Wars just ended. And then we're just waiting for event season and the VGC / temporary incubator update, right? So this is just a normal, healthy, expected, slower period for PokeMMO. And when I say slower period, I mean like probably for the next like 14 days until we get an incubator update. And then maybe after that, like maybe like a month or two until Halloween, right? So like things are a bit slower, but also things will start picking up a little bit. Once we get into October, if you're preparing for event season already, good for you. You should be doing that. Good work. But a lot of people usually put it off and wait until like October starts, and they go into panic mode and start like trying to make a lot of raid Pokemon and stuff last minute. So we'll see that a little bit in October, but still generally things will be a lot slower. This is just normal. People, it's the calm before the storm. Is honestly the best way to put it. We're in the calm before the storm. The storm is coming. We're in the calm. we're just in a normal, healthy period. I think a lot of people, if you say like, hey, the game's a bit, slower right now, people panic, like, oh, game's dying, something's wrong. Like, no. You can't maintain hype forever. Hype has to die down to be healthy. Constant hype becomes not temporary burnout, but permanent burnout, right? Like if you have constant hype, you're going to lose players long term. Whereas in PokeMMO, you have like the seasonal players and the up and down and like, yes, that sort of stuff. So Yeah, just keep that in mind. Bro, do you have any idea how impressive this is to spin this consistently? I was joking about this with my wife the other day off stream. People complain about PokeMMO having no content now, and it has a lot of content, but it could always use more, don't get me wrong. Back in Joshua can speak to this. Back in 2013, I'm not joking, this was a core piece of the endgame content. People would sit around in Viridian City back then and have competitions for how many times you could spin around in a row consistently. People say we have no content now. We used to do this for fun. Like, you have no idea how good you have it. Not to be like, it's like the peak, like back in my day, like boomer, like, but it's fucking true, bro. Like, this was it was like this and farming for Chansey Lucky Eggs in the Safari Zone. This was the content we had. And nowadays we have like raids and abundant like dungeons and PvP tournaments every day, PvP queue, shiny hunting supported. Like, holy fuck, dude. This was what we did for fun back in the day. It's so boomer, bro. Anyways, fellas, tons of progress today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. As always, thanks for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos every single day. Did you miss the movie Patrouski takes today? Did you not miss them? Yesterday's was way too long, so I thought I'd give you guys a break from that. And it's not everybody's cup of tea, which I totally understand. Just a fun way for me to make the content a little bit more engaging and diverse during this slower time in PokeMMO. Thank you guys again for watching. Discord down below if you're interested in that. If you want to go above and beyond and support the content, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, PayPal and Venmo donations, and Factor is the #1 way to support the stream if you can afford it and if you want to. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Zangoose catch event and some movie Patrouski takes. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Peace, Reno. Yo, what's up? Outro Patrouski here, and I wanted to take this time to say thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports my channel. Your names are all listed here. You make it possible for me to make helpful and mildly entertaining content for the game that I love and make it available for free for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much for allowing me to even be here.